So I just thought I'd start off with just a little reminder. Why are you here? Why are we here? Why do you do the things you do? It's my hope to invoke some sense of passion and inspiration for why we are doing the things that we do. For me, it's about discovery, it's about adventure, it's about living life with purpose, but it's also about finding something larger than life that I can contribute to and be a part of. To ever feel the sense that there's something new around the corner or something waiting to be re-seen with new eyes or in a new shape. As we all know, remote sensing, GIS, can help with that, but we as practitioners from whatever academic backgrounds we come from, it's our eyes, our heart, our being that sees the patterns that are necessary to understand change. A quote attributed to Abraham Lincoln, "A compass, I learned when I was surveying. It will point you true north from where you are standing, but it's got no advice about the swamps, deserts, and chasms that you will encounter along the way. If in pursuit of your destination, you plunge ahead heedless of obstacles, and you achieve nothing more than to sink into a swamp, what's the use of knowing true north?" I'm Jeremy Shavy. I'm the Chief Executive Officer and Chief Scientific Officer for EcoBot, and also associated with the Cloud Forest Conservation Initiative, which is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. I'm going to utilize the next 6.5 minutes or so to share with you one amazing story, a victory for environmental and social justice, about a 40,000 acre preserve in the cloud forest, primal cloud forest in Guatemala. So first, what is a cloud forest? High elevation, lots and lots of moisture typically being deposited by clouds. And one of the key features in this type of ecotone are the epiphytes, pteridophytes, ferns, bromeliads, air plants. Why should you care? Maybe many of you are not biologists, ecologists. Cloud forests are not only carbon sinks, but they are also one of the greatest lungs on the earth that we still have on this planet. So I'm going to very briefly, in my short time here, go through with you a very brief touch into what our geodesign method was, how we were able to utilize remote sensing to then actualize ground truthing, the importance of that interaction between biology and data. Talk a little bit about our stakeholder engagement. Talk about how we went from $0 to multi-millions in order to make this into action. And talk about how data drove a lot of our decisions. So first and foremost, we were looking for a specific species, the horned guan. Horned guans require vast amounts of primal cloud forest, untouched forest that's never been cut, never logged. And it has to be, of course, above a certain elevation. So there were a few parameters or metrics that we had to set in our base model in order to determine where some of those sites might be in Central America or the northern part of South America. We needed to look at elevation, we needed to look at the amount of precipitation, and then we also had to have some decent high-res orthophotos so that we could actually make projections of what we were looking at. Once we had that, we could actually do the magic that we can do with remote sensing. We could actually take apart the bandwidths of light, take apart the RGBs, and amplify certain colors or wavelengths so that we could look at canopy structures to determine where those hotspots might be. And surprise, we found a massive site in Guatemala that nobody ever knew existed, no roads, etc. Cerro el Amay. This is in the departmental Quiché in the northern part of Guatemala, just south of the Mexican border. If you look at the aerial photograph here, the green has only been accented slightly, but what you can see is in taking up about 85% of the screen is a rich, deep, untouched wilderness that is covered by primordial forest. But again, the most important thing is once we found these sites, knowing that many times they don't have protection, is what is actually on the ground. What can we dig into? We rappelled down into caves. We climbed up 200 feet into the tops of canopies. We have, in the last 4 years, found 5 new species to science down there. Very exciting time. And again, this all starts with remote sensing, but bringing in the action of real-life biological data collection. But the next most important part was to establish relationships with the communities, with the indigenous people who lived in association with and held these lands to be in common, the Quiche people, a forest Maya people, and also to work with existing organizations, both in Guatemala as well as the US and abroad. The way we were able to build a successful project with this was started through ecotourism, was bringing groups of people down who were adventure-centric, wanted to climb up 200 feet into the top of a tree, rappel down into a canyon that reportedly no Westerner had ever been into before. Something that's exciting, it's sexy, it's fun, people want to do it. But then that led to interest, excitement, and so we were able to raise over $6 million in a 2-year period to put into this project in order to help with the preservation and conservation. And then we were also, during that time, able to team with the Rainforest Alliance and Guatemala-based CONAP. Just in general, the way all of our decisions were made within this, again, we had the large scale, the landscape level approach to looking at things, but we also had the relationship building, not only with the people, but with the biology in the area. I fell in love with this area. I became an advocate. I became a mouth, a voice for a place that did not have a voice in our Human Council in the First World, which oftentimes is the most impactful on developing nations. Here are some of the things that came out of this process. Again, $6.2 million raise. Over 40,000 acres have been protected, contiguous acres of the primordial cloud forest. We have been able to fuel a lot of hires directly within the community and make large-scale decisions that will impact the economy of the area for the long term. These are some other projects that we're working on using a similar type of design. And this is one of my buddies up in the top of about a 600-year-old oak tree. And so I just want to leave you with one last quote. This is by Grace Hopper. "A ship in port is safe. But that is not what ships are for. Sail out and do new things." Thank you.